Hi guys. This is it. This is the final assignment. Final render in Unreal. After you assemble everything from Maya and get my feedback. So what I'm looking for is basically I'm gonna use week 7 as an example. A minimum 30 to 60 seconds film. So all characters, all props, all cameras. I'll show you. I listed all the requirements in the Moodle assignment. Please read it very carefully. You can also use Premiere to do the final edit and add your title cards. I tried to see if there's a way to add it in Unreal if you want to bypass that, but there's no easy way to do it in Unreal. So use Premiere or like a simple video edit software. Do the fade-ins, fade-outs, and add the title cards and the SFX, the sound effects, or dialogue, if there's dialogue in your film. So what I'm looking for, there's 10 main points I'll be grading on, 10% each. So title card, end credits. Please make sure if you use artists from Sketchfab, please include their name. That's the minimum we can do. All your characters and props. Props essential to the story, right? So if there's two characters playing with a ball or something, we need the ball in the animated in the render. VFX essential to the story. Sound effects and dialogue essential to the story included. Lights, so if you're doing like some shadows and you need lights in there, so you need to include it in Unreal, the final render. All motion on all characters with final timing and polish. Cameras, same thing. Please don't forget to animate the motion blur, otherwise you're going to get this artifact between each shot. Remember that big motion blur effect as soon as you switch shots. I'll show you again how to do it in today's video. Don't forget to render at 24. Motion blur is best at 24, so please make sure you're in Maya first, and then in Unreal switch to 24 here. Okay. I'm gonna switch back to 30 because I did the mistake in Maya. I was animating here. These guys were at 30, so I'll just switch it back. But you should be in Maya at 24 and in Unreal at 24, please. The last three, please read my feedback in Moodle. I'm gonna look for pops and jerks in the motion. If in one shot the character is like popping 2 meters to the next motion, you need to fix that in Maya before you go to Unreal. Sliding feed is okay, 1 or 2 shots. Please don't make sliding all over the place. It's not gonna look good for you or the teachers coming in on the showcase. Please aim for quality, right? And no major feet arm penetration. 1 or 2 shots are acceptable. This, after you put all the motions in the time editor, you can bake it to the control rig and fix those, arms passing through and stuff like that. Okay. If you don't have time, it's only 10%, so don't worry about it. I included the do's and don'ts in Unreal. These are a compilation of mistakes most of you forgot and week 7 altogether. I'll go through them now as well in the video so you guys know what I'm talking about. So the first one, after placing an asset like a character or prop in the viewport, please make sure you zero out the translation and rotation. If you don't, all the animations will have that offset. So what I'm talking about is this. So when you place your character, so let's say I'm going to put another ninja in there, skeletal mesh, just drag and drop it. Before I even put him in the sequencer and add the animations, you need to do this. See here, the translation location he's in these values. So if you keep him in these values and add the motion in add the animation in the sequencer, he will keep those offsets, so everything will be off. Okay, so the best thing after you put your actor, your prop, your actor, your camera, anything, just click on this yellow arrow thing. Okay, it will put it at 0, 0. Okay, see, look, all my characters are at 0, 0. What's driving their displacement is the animation in the sequencer. Okay, please don't forget this. Again, it goes for everything: characters, props, cameras, everything. Don't forget to switch your camera to 16:9. So this I've seen multiple times. When you create your camera, this button, create a new camera, and set it as the current camera cut, right? Because by default, when you do a sequencer, I'm gonna add a level sequence. It's okay. Name it test. When you add the sequencer and it's empty, and you add this, create new camera. So it creates your camera cut. This is where you render, right? And you create your camera, right? This is your new camera that you renamed to import from Maya. What most people are forgetting, I think after you import your Maya animation, you need to switch here, switch it back to digital film. Or I believe film, I forget. I think it's a 16:9 film, yeah. There's not a lot of difference between digital and film. Please don't keep it at like these value 30. This is 35 millimeter, so the old format. So please make sure you switch to 16:9 film. It's the first one after the custom. Okay. So you create your camera, you create your camera cuts on the camera, you rename it, you import Maya, and just make sure you switch back to 16:9 film. Don't forget to animate the motion blur. So this I've seen again multiple times. I'll show you what I mean. I think this one had the issue. It's pretty dark. I might have fixed it on this. So when I mean, I'm gonna try to render this to see, because I don't have motion blur here. So if I select my cam, I type in here motion blur. And I click on the plus to add it, to be able to animate it in the sequence, right? I need to add it. So I click on plus. and it adds this one. See, by default, well, first you need to activate it. You need the 0.5. Okay, and then what happens is, okay, I lost my camera view. So now if I render, I'm gonna do a little test. Okay, I'll render from here to here. Okay, call this, I'll switch to 30 because my animations are at 30. It's okay. You should be at 24, please. Motion blur test. It's okay. I need to save. Okay, now if we open this and play, you see at the beginning of the shot, look at this artifact. See, like the camera, because it's transitioning to the second shot, it does a weird one frame motion blur. It doesn't know where to go. So how do we solve this is we add the motion blur to be able to animate it. The default is 0.5, keep it at 0.5. And now in between the shots, okay, so right here, we key at 0.5. On the next one, we put it at 0, right? So you zoom in to see the keys. And now on the next one, we bring it back to 0.5. Okay, so let's render this to see. It should take care of the, I think the preview doesn't work. Let's see if the preview, yeah, the preview I think it still gives that to you. So you need to render to see your new, I'm gonna go a bit less just to speed up the render. Still does it. Yep, still does it. Why? Maybe we need to offset those keys, move them backwards. Let's try that. Maybe it needs to be right before. No. Why is it doing that? Maybe there's a weird frame on my oh, it's animating. No. Oof. 0.5, 0.25. No, this is supposed to be 0. I thought I put 0. It is 0. Okay, the values are correct. Can we look at the curves? Can be interpolating. No, still doesn't. I'm going to switch to 24 to see. Maybe I forgot what I did exactly. Maybe I re-exported the animations at 24. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, this is the way to do it. So let's re-render. I was doing it the right way, but I think I ended up re-exporting the animations at 24. So you guys should be okay. So if your animations are at 24, your scene is at 24, you're rendering at 30, you will add frames, right? So those were probably the extra frames. It's the same in reverse. So if you've animated at 30 and you're rendering at 24, it might, well, it will create less keys, but you will maybe have some artifacts as well. Anyways, just make sure you animate at 24, export at 24, and then switch the sequencer. No, still there. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video. All right, so I found the problem. So I re-rendered again, and the pop doesn't happen anymore. So it was my keys for the camera. Oops. My keys for the camera were a little bit off. I don't know why. Maybe because I switched from 30 to 24. No, that wasn't it. So I really, if you, okay, so if you're still even after you do the motion blur keys, switching from 0 to 0.5, sorry, 0.5 to 0 and then back to 0.5, check your transform keys. So open up the transform key and check maybe the export from Maya sometimes. Yeah, see, we have another problem here. So this key here should be right on the frame. When you have snap on, you will snap on frames, right? So in here, the key should be right on the white line. So you need to just see, this is the frame, the bad frame we were seeing. So you just need to nudge it over, make sure you have snap on and nudge it over to the correct frame. So now you see, it actually even displays it in the properly in the preview. So now it should be okay. These are square because they're different type of interpolation. So if you go here, in the F-curve, right, you can change these if it's bothering you or if it's doing some weird interpolation. You can change it to linear, whatever you want interpolation. See? Problem solved. So motion blur between the camera shots. So if you would like to use an environment in the marketplace, you can, but you need to import that into. I covered this a little bit in last week. So you can open the environment in Unreal and then export it, right? You can export it. You select the environment and you go File, Export Selected. I really don't mind. You can use it. This video shows you how, and last week's video lecture from me, I show you how towards the end of the video. The last point I want to touch is might be useful for some of you, is you can add Slowmo in Unreal. It's way easier to do it in Unreal because it applies slow motion, time dilation, they call it, for everything in the shot. Okay, so it's pretty simple. I'll show you how. So let's play this. I just want to see what this. Okay, so let's say I wanna animate, but in here, see, look, it's a still shot. But in here, it's a moving camera. So I wanna do it. I wanna add a slow-mo right after the second shot. Okay, somewhere here. So how do you do it? You go track plus track, time dilation track. It adds it right after the camera cuts. Then you have a new track. The default value, the slow-mo at normal speed is 1 value. Okay, so if you want it slower, you have to go below 1. So if you, let's say you want it at 0.2 quarter of the speed, you go where you want to start the slow-mo. So let's say maybe on after the second shot starts, you keyframe, you put a key here so that everything before that is normal speed. And right after, let's say you want to start the slow-mo here, you put 0.25, and then you keep it going up until, so let's say I want it on release on the last hit to go back to normal. Okay, so I put another key here, and then as soon as he's done hitting, I want to go back to normal speed. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Nice. Okay, see, it adds time dilation, slow-mo on everything. That's characters, the camera, the props, everything. You might add it on the particles. I haven't tested with particles, but you might add it too. So let's render that out because my playback is not very good today. My PC is slow. So it's really simple. If you want to go faster, you can go 1.25. So that's quarter faster. So 1 is normal speed, and lower is slower, and higher is faster. And you can access the values in the F-curve too. So if you select the track, you want to edit the values, you just need to select what? Okay, you just need to select the track in here, and you can get the values. You can edit the curve. I think it's this one. Let's see. So just a side note, if you do decide to add Slowmo and you have some jerks in your animation, it will amplify it. Why? Because it's adding frames, right? So see here, there's a problem with the wrist. I remember this now. The problem was the wrist was twisting, doing 180, and that's what's causing it here. The sword is flipping because it's attached to the hand, to the wrist. That's twisting. So that's why you see the sword freaking out. It's because of the hand. So just be careful where you add it. Just clean up. If you see some weird artifacts, you just need to clean up your animation, and it should update. Well, you need to clean it in Maya and re-export it. So when you render from the sequencer, it'll be fine. Yeah, here's it. So just keep that in mind when you use time, if you use time dilation. I think that's it. So yeah, those are the major do's and don'ts. Please be careful and please read these. Each point has 10%. Okay. Obviously, if you don't have VFX, and that's essential, I'm not gonna grade you on this, so I'll skip that. So don't have to worry about the stuff that if you don't have props as well. I'll probably do like an average on the other ones. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys in class. Have a good weekend.